Hey, welcome back to Spanish Fork High School. It's Spanish Fork 17's halftime show. It's homecoming here at Spanish Fork. The Dons going to halftime with the lead of, they're trailing Springville 14-7. And we're joined here, begrudgingly probably, on the sideline here with Brad Stone. Brad, just a fixture here at Spanish Fork High School. And we just kind of wanted to maybe talk to you for a minute. Tell the people at home a little bit about your past, what got you to your job here working at Spanish Fork High School.
Well, I worked for 33 years for Spanish Fork Police. Good career, enjoyed it. But it came time to move on to something new. Job came open down here for security at Spanish Fork High, so I jumped on that. Been here since August of 2008.
I know the kids love you guys, and it's got. How big of a change is that from when you left the streets of Spanish Fork to be in the halls of the high school?
It was quite an adjustment. Kind of went from the pros down to the amateurs with my kind of work, and I've enjoyed it a lot. Kids have a lot of energy, a lot of creativity, and it's just been a lot of fun with them.
I'm sure it kind of keeps you young. It keeps you kind of know what's going on in town in the high school. Tell us a little bit about why you're on crutches, because I noticed you're on crutches most of the last football season as well, off and on. What happened? What kind of injury?
Just wore my foot out. I'm blaming it on basketball in high school.
I know you were an athlete at Spanish Fork High School.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
So they did a little bone fusion in my foot. 2.5 months I got to be off of it. 2.5
months non-weight bearing. Is it getting better?
I hope so.
You got to be really careful along these sidelines, though. When the play's coming your way, you got to be crutching to get out of the way. Okay, so I know that you're working on security at Spanish Fork High School, but that's not all you do. What other roles are you taking on for the faculty here at Spanish Fork?
A little bit of everything, whatever they need help with. But I've kind of picked up doing photography at the sporting events, and I've really enjoyed that. Tried to get to all of the different activities and sporting activities, and just provide the pictures for the kids, for the administration, whoever wants them, I give them to them.
Well, I see you at all the events, boys, girls, doesn't matter what's going on. That's a lot of hours on your own, late nights like tonight, taking pictures. But, you know, I just know as a parent, having a son that was involved in athletics the last 3 years, the best pictures we got of his career were taken by you. They were awesome, and you're getting better and better at it. And do you have a favorite sport to take pictures? Which one is the best?
Oh, I really enjoy football and baseball, but all of them are a lot of fun. They have a little different challenge to them, and the timing and what you focus on. They're just a lot of fun.
If you had to guess how many pictures you're taking in a game like tonight average, what's your guess?
Usually between 400 and 500, and then I try and trim it down to about 100.
So you have to go through and edit them all. That takes a huge amount of time. And so if people want to see your pictures, how can they go about finding them? What do you do with them after you trim them down?
I download them onto my Facebook page under the heading of SFHS Flash, and they're there for anybody that wants to look at them.
Great. Yeah, and I really would recommend it because I know the parents, the dancers, volleyball, basketball, they love it, and it's huge. Well, thank you for joining us tonight. Before you go, we want a prediction. Spanish Fork's trailing by a touchdown going into the second half of homecoming. What's your prediction for a final score?
We're going to come back and beat them by a touchdown.
By 7 points, a good game, just like we won last week.
That's right.
Okay, Brad, thank you very much for joining us. And we'll take a break. When we come back, we'll close out the half and be ready for the kickoff of the second half, and we'll be right back.
You know Triple T Heating and Cooling, but did you know that Triple T does plumbing? From tankless hot water, soft water, and reverse osmosis drinking water systems, right down to that leaky faucet. Triple T sure does plumbing. Call Triple T at 801-798-7711 today.
In Spanish Fork, see your good neighbor State Farm agent Lance Wilson for your insurance and financial needs.
Need a new car or truck? The Car Guys has the best selection of used vehicles at the best prices in Spanish Fork. The Car Guys know their automobiles to get you the best car for your needs and your budget. The Car Guys at 872 North Main in Spanish Fork. MVP Sports is the #1 source for sporting goods in Spanish Fork. Football, soccer, all the fall sports, we've got you covered. Check out our new custom t-shirt builder. Design at home and we'll build it for you. MVP Sports, 72 North Main in Spanish Fork.
We're getting closer to the second half, and one point that I really love that Ken and Jace pointed out, because with the way that first half ended, Springville gets the ball to open the third quarter. That's going to completely change, I think, the momentum of this ball game.
Yeah, if Springville goes down, is able to flip the field, I could really put them in the driver's seat. But if what they predicted would happen would be a 3-and-out, Spanish Fork possibly could get good field position and have the opportunity to tie this thing back up. I think they're spot on. This is a critical drive for both teams.
James Daw, number 85, will put a foot into it at the 40-yard line. Bryce Nelson back deep, and the kick's going to go short. Fair catch is called for at the 26-yard line, and then running with it. Taking a pretty big shot there at the end. I don't think that Peyton Calipolo really wanted to take that. I think he threw the hand up and then all of a sudden realized, wait, they're not blowing this whistle dead, I better run.
Yeah, Calipolo clearly signaled for the fair catch. The ref didn't see it. Jordan Smith wanted a penalty down there. As he said, he called for a fair catch, but if the refs don't award it, I think Calipolo did the heads-up thing and ran.
Yeah, that's definitely something here. It's going to be an interesting possession here, and this starts it off. You're going to get I formation, and this is where the Springville offense really does become dangerous because they have an opportunity here. If they can drive the length of the field, they're just going to be able to eat that clock up.
And they got 2 tights in as well.
Right up the middle, here's Bryce Nelson on the carry. He's going to be met and maybe gets a half a yard depending on the spot of the ball as Landon Jensen, it looks like, getting in there with most of the defensive line.
Yeah, and Harmon was down there as well, plugging up the middle. They did a great job in making sure there was no running room. And that's, you know, I've been very impressed with Spanish Fork's line. Harmon, Trujillo, some of those big boys down there have done a great job, and they were getting blown off against Salem Hills, so great coaching adjustments this week by Jordan Smith.
Of course, next week, Spanish Fork heads to crosstown rival Maple Mountain. Springville barely getting the playoff. Jansen Thorpe on the keeper, gets across the 40, breaks the tackle, and he's going to be brought down in Spanish Fork territory at the 49. Jess Barkley getting back there to rip him down, and he just throws him to the turf, but that's a first down for Springville.
And that's exactly what this offense needed to get going, was a big pickup that time. It seemed like they've kind of been, Springville's just been lining up off sides. We'll see if that continues to be an issue. But if you're Spanish Fork, I'd be a little worried if they get this run game rolling here in the third quarter.
1st and 10, ball on the 49-yard line. I formation, deep back set. As here's the pitch, goes outside to Bryce Nelson. Nelson trying to get around Barkley, gets the corner. He's going to get tripped up, hit in the secondary, a big hit, and a flag comes in. One of the offensive linemen for Springville just popping one of the Spanish Fork players, and they thought might maybe come down as unnecessary roughness.
I think it was a wide receiver, Snyder, that had the late hit that time, and that's another critical Springville penalty. So
that's going to be a Springville personal foul penalty there, and that's just one of those things. Again, maybe that's more of a penalty if you're Coach Willie Child, and you look at, obviously you never want those kind of penalties,
right,
but you look at that and you're like, okay, that's a little somebody just getting a little too excited compared to lining up offside.
Snyder that time just went a little too late on the hit that time. The whistle must have been blown. So but that's huge. That's a 15-yarder.
And so now that's going to move the ball all the way back to the Spanish Fork 39-yard line and set you up in this 1st down and 20. I formation set. Tate, the fullback, in there. Nelson once again, the deep back. Here's the give right up the middle to Tate. Tate's going to get into the 2nd level, and he's going to pick up around 8 on the carry, and that's going to bring up about 2nd and about 13 coming up.
And Tate plays fullback, and sometimes when you think of a fullback, you don't think big play ability, but Tate has it as he ripped off a 75-yard run here to open up the scoring for Springville tonight.
And he didn't really run that like a fullback. He ran that like a running back, and he just took it to the house.
He's a big, strong horse with some speed.
2nd and 14 coming up, ball on the 47-yard line of Springville. Once again, I formation. Here's the give up the middle to Tate. Tate's going to get a lot here on the 2nd down carry. He's going to come up about 5 yards short of the 1st down. Gets into Spanish Fork territory to the 45-yard line, and this is where you really have to be careful, because already on this opening drive, already at 9:30, and that clock's ticking, Spanish Fork's defense is going to have to make a couple of stops here in the 2nd half for their offense to have a shot.
And it's 3rd and 5. You can start making those big stops now if you're Spanish Fork. Maybe force Springville to think about punting, but you've got to get up on Tate early. They're allowing him to get a full head of speed. Spanish Fork's defensive line needs to do a little bit better job of getting pressure.
2 receivers, a flag comes in. We'll see who this goes against, and I believe they're going to get Spanish Fork.
And that might give Springville a 1st down here.
It's going to be pretty close. We'll see whether they mark it off here. I haven't seen I haven't seen them officially mark it a first down, but we'll see here. I think they're going to say it's 3rd and about half a yard. Ball sits on the 40. Springville needing the 39 to move the chains. Clock begins to run here.
I look for a quarterback keep.
Thorpe right up the middle. He's going to get the first down to the 35-yard line. Getting in there on the tackle was number 73, and that's Tanner Parker getting there, 6'5" defensive tackle, just there to bring him down.
And Springville loves running that. Hey, we're not even gonna. The quarterback that time didn't even say anything. I could tell right away that it was going to be a quarterback keeper.
You could just kind of tell with that back foot lined up.
I've seen that enough times because I went to Springville, and he just went up and touched the center and went with it.
First down and 10, and here's the pitch outside. Get into the corner, it's Nelson, and that one's going to get outside. There's looks like I thought a flag came in, but apparently not.
There's a flag.
Okay.
I have no idea what it is.
I was going to say, I saw a bright yellow object, and
it was so far out of the play. I'm curious to see what it is.
Looks like it came from the back judge there, back in the secondary, and holding indicated against Springville.
Go ahead.
And that's going to bring that penalty back.
That must have been a hold on a wide receiver on the outside because that was thrown clear by the back judge.
And this is a big opportunity here because you talk about if you're Springville, if you can keep running the ball, I mean, if you can get 5 or 6 yards to carry, it's going to put you in a big opportunity. But if Spanish Fork can get a stop in these 2nd and 3rd down situations, it's going to put a lot of pressure on the Red Devils.
Yeah, and Spanish Fork just needs to be within a touchdown at the end of this game because they have big play ability downfield with Kiesel's arm.
1st and 17, Thorpe, 3-step drop. He's going to throw. That one's going to be in and out of the hands of Bryce Nelson. Nelson frustrated there as he quickly claps his hands together a couple of times. You can tell he's frustrated. That one just went right through his hands.
Yeah, and what an asset to have in your backfield. Nelson, not only can he run the ball well, but he can come out of the backfield and run nice routes that time. Just a little overthrown. He was wide open. Spanish Fork lost him in their coverage.
2nd down and 17 coming up. 8:13 to go, 3rd quarter. Thanks for joining us. Ryan Pickens alongside Chris Hurst here at Spanish Fork High School. The Dons at home here on homecoming, trailing by 7 to Springville. 3 wide receivers. Thorpe, 3-step drop, pump fakes, rolls out, looks down the field, got a man complete, breaking a tackle, it's still going. That looks to be number 26 on the play.
That's Clayton Snyder spinning his way to a 1st down that time, or near a 1st down. Didn't quite get it.
Apui coming up to give him the kind of lowers his shoulder and makes that tackle, but that's going to bring up 3rd and about 4 coming up.
And
about 2.5, maybe 3.
We haven't called Apui's name much tonight, and he's one of the leading tacklers. So it's good to see him getting involved here.
3rd and 2, Thorpe again on the keeper, and I think he's going to have enough, and he will. That will be a 1st down for Springville.
And they're automatic for getting 3 yards on those keepers. They might want to just run that on 1st down one of these times and see if he can't sneak out.
Red Devils moving the chains here once again. And the winner of this one really does have a lot of control in Region 8 because you think of it for Springville, the top 2 teams that people projected would compete with them, Maple Mountain and Spanish Fork, their schedule's done. They've already played those 2.
Right, exactly.
1st and 10, here's the give up the middle. That looks like it's Bennett Hollinger on the carry. And Hollinger is going to get about 5 on the play.
Springville's very methodical. Some might say boring with this I formation, but they just want to get a few yards on 1st down, and they got 5 that time. That's a win for this offense.
And you can just kind of look, you see a lot of guys for Spanish Fork, hands are going on their hips. This is exactly what this offense does. They want to wear you out. This is that kind of Stanford, Michigan State style offense that doesn't have a ton of big plays, but just kind of slowly wears you out over time.
And they've already taken 5.5 minutes of the quarter.
Nelson on the carry. He's going to be pretty close to a 1st down. He's going to get to about the 13, and that's enough, I believe, and it is 1st down Springville.
And the other thing is if you come down and score, if you're Springville, you've taken half a quarter away on this drive. That is huge when you're up by 2 scores. Now, if you're Spanish Fork, you got to make a play. You've let them drive too far. It's time to bend but not break.
1st and 10. Ball will be on the Spanish Fork 13-yard line. 2 receivers, 1 split to the top of your screen, 1 to the bottom. I formation once again. Thorpe looks like he might keep it. No, he's going to pitch it outside to Nelson. Nelson trying to turn the corner at the 10. He's going to be down to about the 5-yard line, and that's, again, going to be pretty close. It looks like officially the 4. He's going to be, that's a 9-yard carry on first down, brings up a 2nd and 1.
Yeah, 2nd and 1 inside the 5's big here for Springville. They got plenty of options, and Spanish Fork has just not been up to the test here on stopping him. It's a first down.
This is just huge for a number of different reasons. If you can put some distance here, Springville late getting their final man on the field. And you got to think power football's coming. Multiple backs. It's Thorpe on the keeper, and it's
going to be about a yard short, but they got half of what they needed at least.
Right there, they brought in Adam Rodriguez into the tight end spot. And now it's going to be 2nd and goal.
We got a penalty.
And if you're Spanish Fork, if this is against Springville, that's going to be a lot of help. Springville instantly pointing Spanish Fork's way. And we'll see here, we're waiting for the official call.
That was way late.
Ineligible receiver, Springville. And that's an interesting situation, because I believe when they go like this, that means an ineligible receiver. And it's just interesting to me because...
Oh, he's got 2 hands on the head. Illegal substitution. So they had 11 guys in the huddle. They broke with probably 12 guys in the huddle.
Is that a 10-yard penalty?
It must be in high school.
I thought for sure that was a 5, but I'm sure the officials know the high school rule book a little more solid than I do.
I wonder sometimes.
So now it's going to...
I've seen some interesting penalty yardage during this season.
2nd down and goal coming up from the 17. So some breathing room here if you're the Spanish Fork defense to try to see if you can't come up with a stop. Looks like the Dons are loading the box here with the linebackers coming in. Apui cheating up from his safety's position. I formation, here's the give. Here's Tate up the middle, makes a man miss, and he's going to be still on his feet as he gets to about the 9-yard line. So another good 8-yard carry on this 2nd down, because it'll bring up a 3rd and goal from the 9.
3rd and goal from the 9, but that too many men in the huddle penalties might come back to haunt him here. But wow, what running by Tate. He does not go down easy, as you can see on the Car Guys instant replay.
So now the question starts to become, if you're Willie Child, is do you go for it here? Are you in 2-down territory here if you're Springville? Or do you trust your kicker and take 3?
If his kick I haven't seen him kick more than the one that went straight in the air. I think you're probably in 4-down territory.
3-step drop. Thorpe throwing the fade route, looking, and that one is going to be incomplete. Intended there for number 6. That was Adam Rodriguez, the big tight end. They tried to throw that fade route and just put it a little bit out of bounds.
And that was very close. I wonder if we can see it here on the Car Guys instant replay, but that was about as close as you can get, at least from up here in the booth. It looked close.
There's a great ball by Thorpe. The only spot he could put it was right where he did. We'll try to slow this down. And
well, he looked like his foot might have been on the line. We couldn't really tell from that replay, but it was awfully close.
So now here it is, 4th and goal. Springville's going to go for it. I back set, 3-step drop on the slant. The pass is complete, but the Dons deny him at the 2-yard line.
Great catch that time by Reimer, but he is met by a host of Spanish Fork Dons, and that is a huge stop as they change possessions here. But Springville took 75% of that clock.
3:57 to go, and yes, if you're just joining us, that was only the first possession of the 2nd half. I mean, they had about an 8.5, somewhere around like an 8-minute possession to open up the quarter. And that's the dangerous thing about that run game, is now that puts a lot of pressure here on Nate Kiesel. If he doesn't get it in the end zone, then who knows how much time you're going to have with the ball when we start the 4th quarter.
We might see a quarterback sneak by Kiesel this time.
3-step drop, back to throw, now being pressured. He's very close to that inline, just going to take a shot deep. Throws it up there, got him in and out of the hands. Jordan Pendleton turning for it, but just couldn't quite come up for it. And It's going to go incomplete.
And you got to be worried about a hold in the end zone at most levels of football. That's a safety. So the offensive lineman got to be careful there. But Springville's going to bring a lot of pressure. I think that was a good call. Spanish Fork's run game this season has really struggled. That's something that they need to work on. I don't know if right now is the ideal time to work on it, though.
They had a favorable matchup there. Isaac Pendleton up against Bennett Hollinger, and right there, a good job by Pendleton to try to go up, and ball just couldn't quite find his hands. But, you know, Chris, really do look at it with how good of a runner Nate Kiesel is. You have to kind of wonder if maybe a read option play or maybe a quarterback keeper here. You haven't ran many of them tonight, but now might not be a bad time. 2nd and 5 coming from the 8-yard line. And a penalty marker comes flying in early. And it looks like offsides against Springville, and so that's going to probably give Spanish Fork an automatic first down. And you can tell there has to be some frustration for Springville. I mean, we talked about at one point like 9 penalties at some point in the first half against Springville.
Well, Coach Willie Childs is going to wake up at 2 a.m. and he's going to see that referee doing that offside signal from the backside.
3-step drop, going to throw it out there high for Isaac Pendleton, but he brings it in at about the 18-yard line, so a 5-yard completion, and that's going to bring up a 2nd and about 5 coming up.
But, you know, that's a great little hitch pattern ran by Spanish Fork. They've been able to do that multiple times, and you get 5-7 yards on first down, and you don't make any mental mistakes after that. That's a win, in my opinion.
2nd and 5, ball on the 19-yard line. Clock running, 3:14 to go as the Dons break the huddle with 10 on the play clock. 3 wide receivers. Watch for Jackson Higginson. He had the touchdown in the first half. I believe he's to the very top of your screen at home. Shotgun set. Here's the give right up the middle and getting maybe back to the line of scrimmage. I believe that was Heredia on the carry.
That was it was Sam Heredia that time with the carry. And that's just been the Achilles heel of this offense, is they really haven't had much balance. They just cannot run the ball on people, and you know, I think that's something that they need to work on. And maybe when they have a couple of these opponents where they get ahead, they can really focus on running that ball so that they can have balance as, you know, they try and make a run for the state championship.
3rd and 4, flags fly immediately. Springville points against Spanish Fork. And we are going to get here, waiting for the official call.
We have a gold key in the press box. A gold key has been turned into the press
As we hear an announcement here for a gold key been turned into the press box. This is going to go against Spanish Fork. So now instead of a 3rd and 4, it's going to be 3rd and 9. And those are the penalties that you don't like. It's a very manageable 3rd down, all of a sudden now becomes a 3rd and 9, and now definitely a passing situation for the Dons.
Right, it takes it from maybe a short pass play to your tight end. You got to go a little more intermediate here. But if I was Spanish Fork, I would look for Braden Christensen a little more here in the second half. He had an amazing first half, and we haven't seen too much from the tight end this season.
3rd and 8. Kiesel drops back to throw, looking for Pendleton. He's got it. Makes a man, almost missed. Bryce Larson, a great tackle. It should be enough, though, for a first down out across the 26-yard line. And that's going to be a first down for the Dons.
Yeah, and I think Spanish Fork is just setting up that big play. I mean, Springville's secondary is really creeping up, which allows for some of those shorter passes where they've got to get back to cover that deep threat.
So first down and 10, 1:55 to go, 3rd quarter. Right now, Spanish Fork driving, 3 wide receivers. Isaac Pendleton to the bottom of your screen, matched up against Bryce Nelson. Back to throw. Kiesel has some time, steps up in the pocket. He's looking deep for Pendleton, who's got to step on Nelson. It's in and out of the hands of Isaac Pendleton, and that's going to be one. If you're Isaac Pendleton, you have a touchdown there that you just dropped.
Yeah, and that is huge. I don't know if he just got a little too excited or he lost it in the lights. Sometimes these lights at some of these games, it's hard to see the ball, but I'm not sure what happened. I thought we had 7 there.
Great
6.
I mean, there's what it comes down to. Kiesel has plenty of time. There's a couple of receivers who had steps there. The receiver coming kind of down the middle of the seam there, how it was open as well. So 2nd down and 10, not a bad idea. Take a shot deep on first down. Three receivers, and here's Kiesel. Quarterback draw. We haven't seen this so far tonight. And Kiesel gets maybe 2 yards on the carry, and that brings up a 2nd and 8.
And
sorry, 3rd and 8.
Adam Rodriguez meets him that time, the stud defensive lineman for Springville. But yeah, it's very hard to call plays when you're very limited in the run game, and I think that's might be the difference in tonight's ball game.
Minute 7 to go, 3rd quarter. A very quick 3rd quarter here for Spanish Fork High School. It's a 7-point ball game. Don's trying to tie it. Kiesel being pressured immediately, rolls out, flag comes in as the ball is just kind of thrown into the dirt. And I'm assuming by where that flag came in, it's going to be a hold against Spanish Fork.
Yeah, there's no question that was a hold. The question is, do they want to call it on the guard or the center? Because both guys got a hold of somebody coming by him. But what do you do? This Springville rush has been ferocious tonight. Those guys are fast. Rodriguez and a couple of those other guys down there. Daxton Polson.
And Springville declines the penalty, making it 4th down, and with 55 seconds to go. Is this a situation where you might see maybe Wade Stanton, if he has a room to run, maybe takes off?
Maybe. I mean, if Springville gets the ball, who's to say how much time Spanish Fork will have?
Spanish Fork late getting the final man on the field. Duncan Williams running in, number 32. Wade Stanton standing back at his own 15-yard line. Here's a pretty good snap. Here's the run out and the line drive kick. Takes a bounce at the 45 and rolls. Takes a spring, kind of a neutral bounce both ways. And it's down at the 39-yard line where Springville takes over with 46 seconds to go here in the 3rd quarter. And, Chris, this is a very big situation because, like you said, another 8-minute drive here, and you're getting the ball back with about 7 minutes in the 4th quarter, potentially down 2 scores.
Yeah, and they've got to be getting tired on that defense. They've been on the field most of the night, especially here in the 3rd quarter. As we mentioned, Springville had that 8-minute drive, but I think the key will be just to get off the field early here.
First down at 10, ball on the 39-yard line. From the shotgun, Jansen Thorpe. 3 wide receivers on the play. Thorpe going to give it right up the middle, or he's going to keep it at the 40 to the 45. He's going to get kind of tripped up as he gets near the marker, and that's going to be a first down to the 50-yard line. An 11-yard pickup for Jansen Thorpe, and that's a first down, Red Devils.
And Bryce Larson that time just, made a big tackle there, or that play might have went for even further. I don't think he would have scored, but yeah, he had me faked out as well. I didn't realize that he didn't hand that ball off.
24 seconds to go in the quarter as we wind down the 3rd here. 14-7 lead for Springville. I formation set. Larson once again the deep back. He's going to get the call right up the middle and immediately getting there from behind. I believe that was Mace Funa getting from the other side.
Yeah, also Landon Jensen was in there to get the tackle as well, as they both met at the running back that time.
And that's going to end the 3rd quarter here at Spanish Fork High School. At the end of 3, it's the visiting Springville Red Devils 14, the Spanish Fork Dons 7. We'll see if the Dons have a comeback in them. We'll see it after the break here on Spanish Fork Community Network.
You know Triple T Heating and Cooling, but did you know that Triple T does plumbing? From tankless hot water, soft water, and reverse osmosis drinking water systems, right down to that leaky faucet. Triple T sure does plumbing. Call Triple T at 801-798-7711 today.
In Spanish Fork, see your good neighbor State Farm agent Lance Wilson for your insurance and financial needs.
Need a new car or truck? The Car Guys has the best selection of used vehicles at the best prices in Spanish Fork. The Car Guys know their automobiles to get you the best car for your needs and your budget. The Car Guys at 872 North Main in Spanish Fork. MVP Sports is the #1 source for sporting goods in Spanish Fork. Football, soccer, all the fall sports, we've got you covered. Check out our new custom t-shirt builder. Design at home and we'll build it for you. MVP Sports, 72 North Main in Spanish Fork.
Another 150 yards.
Start of the fourth quarter here on the Spanish Fork Community Network. It's the Spanish Fork Dons 7, the Springville Red Devils 14. We want to thank our sponsors for help making this broadcast possible. The Car Guys for sponsoring the Car Guys Instant Replay. Lance Wilson from State Farm Insurance for sponsoring the assist of the game. MVP Sports for the MVP of the game, which will be named at the conclusion of our broadcast. 2 Jack's Pizza, Triple T Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing, and of course our friends here at the Spanish Fork Community Network. As we get set to start the fourth quarter, 12 minutes on the clock, and Springville driving once again, sitting right at midfield as streamers begin to fly from the student section here. They're trying to get everybody excited here in these final 12 minutes.
Springville's student body is jumping up and down like crazy over there as well. Great atmosphere tonight.
I went there for the basketball games in the winter time, and their student section on the opening tip-offs just jumps, and that whole place is shaking. Not gonna lie, it was pretty cool. 2nd and 10. Here's the give on the carry, and that's Nelson, who's tripped up by Salofa Funa, and that's going to bring up a 3rd and 10. And this is a situation where Springville really hasn't liked to have been in, and are these 3rd and longs.
3rd and longs. They've been running the ball well, but Spanish Fork's defense has really stepped up on these last 2 plays and put them in a 3rd and long. And if you're Spanish Fork, I think I'm still expecting a run here. I don't see Springville going away from it.
3rd down and 10. The Red Devils need the 40-yard line to convert. Thorpe here will be under center. Devin Tate, the lone fullback. 5-step drop. Back to throw over the middle, high, and in and out of the hands. Coming over the middle was Apui, who almost had a shot at it. It was Bryce Larson running one-on-one there with Bennett Hollinger, and that brings up 4th down, and Springville's going to have to punt.
Yeah, great defense that time as they just drop back in his zone coverage, and Imu Apu, that was Bryce Larson, made sure that the receiver did not catch that ball, and great stop by the Dons as they only gave up 1 first down.
Way Stanton and Tanner Argyle standing back at their own 15-yard line. Here comes the Springville punt. It's high. It's going to be a short kick. Calling for the fair catch and now getting away from it was Tanner Argyle. Probably not a bad idea as he was looking straight up into the lights. And that one will roll dead down at around the 24-yard line. And that's not bad field position, but this is a big position for the Dons. They have to go down the field. And
did you see Mace Funa that time just blow his blocker down on his, it was like a pancake block that time. I guess we could call that an assist, Lance Wilson State Farm assist as he assisted him to the ground. I was impressed. I've been impressed with Mace Funa this whole season.
1st down and 10, ball in the 23. 3 wide receivers for Kiesel. Rodriguez getting right through. Kiesel steps away, now being pressured, throws it out there for Braden Christensen, but kind of throws an inaccurate throw. He got hit by a couple of Red Devils right as he got rid of that football.
Yeah, and one of the problems without having a run game is Springville can blitz every down, and they don't have to worry about a run. Maybe once in a while, the Spanish Fork should throw a draw in there to see if they can't counter that. But I feel bad for Kiesel. He's taken a beating in a lot of ball games I've seen this year.
Wasn't a bad throw there from Nate Kiesel, really, when you take a look at how he had to throw that and get it out quick. Not a bad throw, just not exactly accurate. 2nd and 10, Red Devils look like they're coming. Pressure comes, Kiesel gets away. Having a look down the field, he throws it up deep, and getting there, Brooks Ringer, but he didn't hold on. That one was just kind of fluttered out there, and Ringer did a nice job of getting there, but it just got hit as he threw.
And that, I didn't see the number. Was that number 21 that broke that up by Springville? That was a great play. If was 21, that's Scotty Averett.
We've not seen very much from Scott Averett tonight so far. Last year we saw a ton of that Maple Mountain game of him on the offensive side of the ball. Haven't seen much of Scott Averett tonight. 3rd down and 10 coming up here. 10:51 to go, 4th quarter. 7-point ball game here on the Spanish Fork Community Network. Friday night football under the lights. Rolling out, Kiesel pressured, now gonna have to step up, looking deep. He's got a man out there, that is Pendleton, and this one goes in his bread basket, but then he gets hit and the ball goes incomplete.
very impressive. Kiesel put that ball where he needed to 2 times, and I don't know if it's, they mentioned on the halftime show, it's pretty cold down there, and if maybe your hands turn into cement, maybe that's what happened that play, but they didn't connect again.
And that's been open. We've talked about it all night tonight. Spanish Forks had an opportunity to get those deep balls, and it just hasn't worked. They haven't been able to connect here in the second half. Way Stanton with a good punt. Fair catch is called. That ball, almost bobbled by Bennett Hollinger there as he kind of caught that one up here. And that's not where you want to catch it, Chris. It's up here in the shoulder pad. You want to get that down because right there, Hollinger almost bobbled that return. Yeah,
he was too close to the ball. He needed to take a half a step back to make that catch, but hey, he did a great job of hanging on to that.
And now with 10:41, a lot of pressure, I think, here right now. Given the offense hasn't been able to put a lot of points on the board, the defense has all the pressure on if you're Spanish Forks to get a quick stop.
Yeah, or just survive. You got to keep your team within striking distance. They cannot allow too many points in this game. Their offenses struggle outside that first possession.
I formation, Jansen Thorpe gives it right up the middle. Here's Devin Tate. Tate's going to get about 3 on this one out to around the 45-yard line. And I think he'll take that on first down. And Devin Tate, of course, earlier had a 75-yard touchdown run that gave the Red Devils their first score. That one coming way back in the first quarter.
Yeah, and Harmon and Trujillo down there, they are battling, and that's what's stopping some of these plays from not being big runs. But Springville, on that play that didn't look like it went anywhere, still got 3 yards.
2nd and 7 coming up. Once again, the I formation for Springville. Very traditional. Adam Rodriguez in at tight end. Thorpe's going to roll out play action. He's going to be pressured. Looks high. That ball in and out of the hands. As coming up was Devin Argyle. Has a radar for where that football is so far this year. He went for it, just couldn't quite come up with it, and that's going to bring up a 3rd and 7.
You're absolutely right. The other thing I saw Mace Funa dropping back into coverage, and I was like, oh no, is it going to happen again? Are we going to have another pick 6 from Mace Funa? But they did a good job of recognizing where he was at and not going across the middle that time.
Ball sits right now right at the 45-yard line. It's 3rd down and 7. The one thing with that incompletion too, Chris, that stops the clock if you're Springville. 3 seconds on the play clock. Thorpe's going to go play action. Rolls out to the left. He's going to be hit and chased from behind. Salofa Funa got him. Funa came sprinting from the opposite side of the field and just brings him down for the sack. And 4th down, as Springville's probably going to have to look to punt here.
And that's huge, as Spanish Forks defense has really stepped up here as of late and made some huge plays, as Funa, as we can see on the Car Guys instant replay, does his best impression of a Superman dive and takes down Thorpe that time.
Way Stanton and Tanner Argyle back deep to receive the punt. This is a low snap. They're going to get it off. And it's a pretty good punt. Going to send Stanton back to about the 18-yard line, where he calls for the fair catch at about the 16-yard line. And now with 9:11 to go in the 4th quarter, this is a big drive for Nate Kiesel. We haven't seen a lot of drives for Spanish Fork where in a sense the game's on the line, and you kind of get that idea even though there's 9 minutes left, that in a sense you don't really know how many more possessions you're going to have.
You're absolutely right. Springville could get the ball and drive it for 9 minutes and score a touchdown. If you're Spanish Fork, though, I wouldn't try and go deep. Those are lower percentage plays. I think you've got Springville worried about that. I might try and go over the middle a little bit and just get your guys some confidence on some short catches.
Noah McCray is the guy just kind of playing center field. Going down the field for Pendleton, throws it behind. Pendleton reaches behind the corner and holds it in at midfield. Bennett Hollinger just blanketed him with coverage there, and Pendleton able to reach back after the last couple of went in and out of his hands there. He makes the play count.
Yeah, I'm kind of in shock he caught that one. That was a very difficult catch, and Kiesel did a great job of just keeping that play alive and throwing on the run. And sometimes I think he throws a lot better on the run, but I wonder if the coaches will look at that film and be like, don't throw that again.
That's got to be a Lance Wilson State Farm assist right there on that throw from Nate Kiesel. He put it in the one spot where his receiver was going to be able to get to it.
Yeah, he did.
Spanish Forks got to get the playoff. Here's Landon Jensen right up the middle on the carry. He's going to fall ahead and get about 5 here on first down. And so really the running back by committee See, for Spanish Fork, we've seen Salofa Funa, we've seen Sam Heredia, we've seen Mateen Lomax at times this year, Duncan Williams, now we're seeing Landon Jensen. We've seen just a handful of guys. Wouldn't surprise me one time if we see Mason Salofa Funa in there together.
Yeah, I think we've seen them in the backfield once. They ended up throwing the ball. But yeah, great job of getting some positive yards on a run.
Jensen the back again. Here's the keeper, and Kiesel's going to get dropped. Number 82 once again getting there. That's Sean Holloway, who's just had a really good game tonight being able to get to the quarterback.
Yeah, Holloway's been all over this field. I'm assuming that's Holloway. On our roster, they have him as 82, but I think he's 92. But either way, that read option play went nowhere because Springville did a good job of containing up the middle, and Kiesel had nowhere to go.
And now that puts in a very long 3rd and 2. Isaac Pendleton to the top of your screen. Jackson Higginson to the bottom of the screen. And pressure comes. Kiesel rolls away, steps up, slips away. He's at the 50, throws at the last minute, and wide open Higginson, touchdown Spanish Fork! Jackson Higginson was all by himself. There are no flags, and the Dons are an extra point away from tying this one up with 7:12 to go.
Man, and Jackson Higginson comes up with a beautiful catch that time. Kind of bobbled a bit. He was wide open. He's Mr. Clutch downfield as he comes up with his 2nd reception for a touchdown tonight, and he's over 100 yards as that's a 52-yard variety. He had a 36-yard touchdown catch easy earlier in the ball game, and we've got ourselves a fantastic rivalry game tonight.
One side of the stadium instantly quieted, the other side with plenty of noise. James Daw on for the extra point. Snap is down, kick is up, and it is good, and we're tied at 14. 7:12 to go in the 4th quarter. We're locked up. Rivalry football. First place in the region on the line, Chris. I don't think you could ask for a better atmosphere for homecoming than is right now here at Spanish Fork.
Yeah, and what a huge win this would be for a homecoming game as we see this pass. He slips. I thought his knee might have hit the ground there for a second, but on the replay it doesn't look like it. And Jackson Higginson comes up with that catch clear downfield. Wow. And that's the thing about the Dons is they have big play capability here in this game, and they made the extra point. And that's something that they've really struggled with this early on in the season. It's good to see that they've corrected that the last few weeks.
I'm not gonna lie, I might have held my breath with the earlier during the Orem game last time we were here at Spanish Fork High, when the snaps had a hard time being able to get down for James Daw to put it through. Daw's gonna kick this one short, and it's gonna bounce, and ball is bobbled, but then picked up by Springville. Right there's Bryce Larson, who's gonna go down the sideline, and he's gonna be knocked out of bounds around the 40-yard line. Now that I think of it, yeah, it was Bryce Nelson, I'm sorry, number 3. I'm getting Bryce Larson for Spanish Fork and Bryce Nelson for Springville kind of mixed up tonight, so my apologies.
Yeah, Nelson did a good job of, once he finally got the ball, of just going north and south and getting some yards as I thought they were gonna, Spanish Fork had a chance to pick that up, but their coverage team was slow to get down there. Credit Springville for the blocking some, but you gotta fight a little harder. We got a unsportsmanlike conduct penalty.
Unsportsmanlike against Springville, so that's gonna initially start them, I believe, in a 1st and 25. With 7 minutes to go. So a big help coming here for Spanish Fork with 7 minutes to go, because now the Dons get a stop. Now they have an opportunity here where they're going to have an opportunity to maybe get the ball back to have a chance to win the game.
Yeah, at first you got to stop this rushing attack. I imagine Springville is going to give him a heavy dose of Bryce Nelson on this drive.
Nelson the deep back, Devin Tate once again the fullback here in this I formation set. 2 wide receivers. Ready to go. Here's the pitch outside to Nelson. Nelson's going to try to get outside. He's going to stiff arm, and Jess Barkley wasn't going for the stiff arm and just kind of escorts him out of bounds at around the 30-yard line. So a pickup of 8 there on 1st and 10.
Yeah, that's a huge run. It's I imagine we'll see the Bryce Nelson show here until Spanish Fork can stop it, but they have done that. That first drive of the quarter, they really, or in the 3rd quarter, they really struggled, but they've done a great job of containing this Springville rushing attack, and it's all started with those big hosses up front on that defensive line.
2nd and 4 coming up here. Once again, the eye back for Springville. Spanish Fork looks like they're coming right up the middle. Here's Devin Tate on the carry, and Tate gonna get maybe a yard and a half on second look, and so now it's gonna bring up a 3rd and about 2, maybe 2.5.
3rd and 2, if you can get a stop here and possibly get the ball back, Spanish Fork could really get in the driver's seat of this ball game. This is another critical 3rd down, and I imagine Springville's, I'm gonna think that maybe they try that quarterback sneak again.
I would think there's a good chance that that's coming. It kind of looks like it. Adam Rodriguez in the game at tight end. They're going to the shotgun look here, so we'll see. Right up the middle, Thorpe keeps it, and he is met in the backfield and dropped for a huge loss, and that's going to bring up 4th down.
And credit Harmon and Trujillo for getting in that backfield early and stopping that play, and that is a huge stop. I thought Springville was going to run away with this ball game the way that 3rd quarter was going, but the defense is really amped up when they needed to, and they'll get the ball back with the chance to take the lead and go 2-0 in region. And this, like you mentioned, Springville's the favorite in region. This could be a huge victory.
Believe that's Adam Rodriguez, number 6, back to punt. He's going to put a foot into it. It's a line drive kick. Way Stanton calls for the fair catch and makes the catch at the 40-yard line. So Spanish Fork has 5:01 to go in the 4th quarter. They can use all that 5:01 if they want.
Well,
it's a 14-14 tie, though.
If I'm Coach Jordan Smith, I'm just like, let's just let Kiesel scramble around for a while and just throw it deep. That seems to be their bread and butter, honestly. It's not the prettiest play, but they've done it so many times this season. It's almost like those broken plays end up being the ones that they score on.
Jackson Higginson to the bottom of your screen. He has 2 scores tonight. Shotgun set. Kiesel, 3-step drop. He's now going to go over the middle. He's got a man. That's complete out to the 45-yard line to Isaac Pendleton. So a quick 5-yard gain on 1st down. And right now, Spanish Fork will bring Salofa Funa in.
And that's what Spanish Fork does instead of running the ball, is they have those little short hitch patterns, because Springville's worried about him going over the top, so that might be open. At the first of this game, Springville's corners were really sneaking up on him, but now you see they're playing 7-8 yards off him.
And it's kind of interesting to see, because Scott Averett, this one of the safeties, is kind of playing more kind of a rover in there as an extra linebacker. Here's Funa. He's going to be brought down by Devin Tate right at the line of scrimmage. That brings up 3rd and 5.
3rd and 5, and another run that's just didn't get started again for Spanish Fork. I'd be curious to look at a chart of Spanish Fork's run plays and see how many actually go for positive yards.
And now
Tie ball game, 14-14.
4:02 to go, 4th quarter. We're tied at 14. Landon Jensen, Jackson Higginson back in for the Dons on what is a big 3rd and 5. I mean, the good news is we got whistles blow, timeout, Spanish Fork. So Jordan Smith definitely wants to talk about it here with 3:51 to go. And I don't blame him. You want to make sure here on this 3rd and 5 you have the right play calling.
Yeah, because it's critical you get a 1st down and keep this drive going. You don't want to give Springville the time in this ball game to get something going and leave yourself with no time, because Springville's still just going to stick with their game plan and run. So I'm kind of curious to see what play call they come out with out of this timeout. I'd imagine they're probably going to try and get something outside the pocket.
A couple of scores to pass along to you. 31-6, Wasatch leading Payson. That one down the road here from us at Spanish Fork down in Payson. And then end of the 3rd, Maple Mountain 16, Tooele 6.
And yeah, I'm kind of, and we'd also like to thank our sponsors here on Channel 17. We got the Car Guys with the instant replay, State Farm, Lance Wilson State Farm Insurance with the assists, and MVP Sports with the MVP player of the game, 2 Jacks Pizza, Triple T Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing, and Spanish Fork Community Network for bringing us these awesome broadcasts.
So a big situation coming here. 3rd down, Kiesel back to throw. He's going to scramble, going to go back to his 30, gets away. He's looking down the field, throws it up into double coverage. It's batted down, almost into the hands of Jackson Higginson there. But the ball goes incomplete as he threw it down the field looking for Brooks Ringer. Salofa Funa. And that goes incomplete, 4th down, so the ball going to go back to Springville with 3:42 to go.
And credit both defenses here. They've made some big stops in this ball game. We started out with both teams scoring in the first 3 minutes of this ball game, and it sure has been a lot different ever since that. I thought we'd have a shootout the way this game started.
Has gone final. Maple Mountain 23, Tooele 6. Line kind of rolling punt. Hollinger picks it up back at the 15. Makes a couple of men miss. He's still on his feet. He's going to get loose. Out across the 35. He gets past Way Stanton, but no. Stanton makes what could have been a touchdown-saving tackle. Might be a little bit of a stretch. I don't know if he gets away, if he takes that to the house, but now very good field position with 3:28 to go.
Yeah, touchdown-saving tackle we'll see here on the instant replay by Way Stanton, but wow, I thought great effort by Hollinger to get upfield and out of some of those tackles. Yeah, it was an ankle grab there that time as he brings him down. What a ball game we've had. It's been a defensive battle, but it sure has had some exciting moments in it.
1st and 10, Red Devils, 3:28 to go, 4th quarter. Jansen Thorpe from shotgun. 3 wide receivers on the play, single back. Thorpe, 3-step drop, throws. That one's going to be complete. That's out to Bryce Nelson right along the sideline for about 5.
Yeah, great coverage that time in that zone as Tanner Argyle came up and made sure he didn't catch it.
I thought it was complete, but apparently it wasn't complete. So a 2nd down and 10, so I apologize for missing that for our viewers at home. Thank you for tuning in on this Friday night here at Spanish Fork High School. Region 8 football. It's Springville and Spanish Fork. 3:20 to go in the 4th quarter. Red Devils and Dons tied at 14. Thorpe back to throw with some time. Throws this one high over towards the sideline. Hollinger looks like the intended receiver there, and he brings this one in for a pickup of about 5, and that sets up 3rd and 5.
Yeah, and this is another big 3rd down. We've seen both defenses step up the last few possessions on these 3rd downs and get their offense back on the field. So we'll see if Spanish Fork can answer once again.
The ball on the 35-yard line. Dons look like they're going to kind of load the box here. Mace Funa there, pictured on your screen. Looks like he might be coming. Thorpe drops back Funa into coverage. They throw it out, and that's going to be in and out of the hands of the intended receiver. Hollinger was once again open. That one hit him right in the hands. It's going to go 4th down, though, and that's going to probably bring in a punting situation. And there's a flag on the play. Personal foul, late hit, roughing the passer against Spanish Fork. That gives Springville an automatic 1st down.
Yeah, I didn't see that, but man, you've got to, and both teams have really cleaned it up here in the 2nd half. It hasn't been the penalty fest, but that's a big one. We didn't see who ran it into the quarterback late that time.
So we'll try to see here.
Oh, I don't know about that. That was, you get that extra step. That was pretty ticky-tacky.
You know, and I can see it. This game had maybe been a little chippy where there had been some late hits and maybe some personal foul penalties, but this game really hasn't been chippy. And so I don't know. That's close. That's very close. And at the end of the day, it's a Springville 1st down at the 40-yard line. 3:10 to go, Red Devils and Don territory. Give right up the middle. Here's Tate. Tate's going to get a yard down to about the 39-yard line. Salofa Funa looks like getting in there on the stop.
And the way Springville runs their offense, even if they go 3 and out, Spanish will get the ball with, about a minute to go here. It's just, they just love that ball control, tempo.
Clock will run right here. They're going to go 3 wide receivers, 2 to the top of your screen, 1 to the bottom. Bryce Nelson split out as the receiver to the very top of your screen. Thorpe going to try the quarterback keeper. He is going to be brought down by Salofa Funa back at the 45-yard line.
That's another big defensive play by Salofa Funa. He has been all over Mr. Thorpe tonight.
And now that brings up a huge 3rd and about 9. Sorry, that's going to bring up longer than 3rd and 9. That's going to bring up 3rd and 14.
3rd and 9 plus 5, we'll call it.
There we go. Thanks, Chris. Thanks for the help there.
Yeah, anytime. Please feel free to slap me.
So 3rd down and 14, ball on the 44-yard line. Springville needs the 30 to move the chains. Thorpe from the shotgun. Steps back to throw with some time. plenty of it. He looks down the middle. That's in and out of the hands of, I believe that was Bennett Hollinger again, who just couldn't quite come up with it, and it's 4th down and probably a punting situation for Springville.
And there has been a lot of drops tonight, and that was another one. Great pass that time by Jansen Thorpe.
Thorpe had plenty of time on that there. I mean, he had all day. Hollinger gets open. That's a good ball thrown in between 3 Spanish Fork defenders, but ball just couldn't quite come up with it.
Since this valley's known for Hail Marys, how appropriate would it be for this game to end on a Hail Mary tonight?
That BYU-UCLA game, if that goes to a 3rd Hail Mary, I'm going to be very impressed. Rodriguez gets it off. Fair catch is called for, and it's made at the 21-yard line by Way Stanton. And now a minute 43 for the Spanish Fork Dons. They have all 3 of their timeouts. So really, the whole playbook's open if you're Spanish Fork. You just don't want to make a mistake. You
don't want to make a mistake, but you got Kiesel, and that guy, he's got the ability to get outside the pocket and make something happen downfield. And this offense, obviously, as we've seen tonight, their offense has been based off of one thing, and that's big plays. They haven't had any, they've had a few intermediate and short plays, but for the most part, it's been going over the top.
Keep an eye on your bottom of your screen. Bennett Hollinger, the corner, up against Jackson Higginson. Here's Kiesel being pressured. He runs away from it, now being pressured back at the 10. Almost goes down, fumbles, and I believe in Springville, they're going to say it looks like it went out of bounds, it looks like here.
Wow.
And that's a huge, huge break for the Spanish Fork Dons. A fumble that Springville gets, and that's would have been a big turnover.
Yeah, great defensive rush by number 92 again. And they brought tons of pressure. But when you bring that many guys, it's really hard to stop them, although Funa needs to do a better job of pass blocking.
Rodriguez came almost untouched there.
And how do you not account for that guy? Hey, number 6 down there, somebody block him.
I mean, that's the thing. I mean, is he just comes almost, kind of an arena football, how the receivers get a running start. He got a running start there on Kiesel. 2nd and 22, Kiesel steps up. He's going to get away. He's in the end zone, gets rid of it, and if that's grounding in the end zone, that's, I believe, the equivalent of a safety. And here comes the flag, and with a minute 23, if that's going to be grounding in the end zone, that's 2 points for the Red Devils.
And that's exactly what it's going to be, is I believe we're going to have a 16-14 ball game, and the problem is...
And it's a safety for Springville. The Red Devils have the lead.
Yeah, and I was going to say the problem is you got to kick the ball to Springville, and you can't do an onside kick on it after a safety. So you've got 2 timeouts, and is there enough time to even get the ball back?
Yeah, that's the thing you have to understand, especially with this offense. And that's one of those things where if you're Nate Kiesel, sometimes you have to give up on the play and just go down. This is the sort of mistake you didn't want. Remember, this drive started.
And Rodriguez grabbed him, and I wonder if they wouldn't have called that at the 2 because he threw him back into the end zone and your forward momentum. I don't know, but when you're in the end zone and you got the ball, you got to try something.
And a good job there by Adam Rodriguez of making the play happen, but now a lot of pressure reverts back to Spanish Fork with a minute 23, because like you said, now you have to do the punt. Then now you have to find a way very quickly. If you do get the ball back, you're not going to have a lot of time.
Right, you got the 2 timeouts. You absolutely cannot give up a first down. It's, you're going to rely on your defense to win this game. They've came up big so many times tonight. Can they do it one more time?
I'm looking at that clock with a minute 23 and 25-second play clock.
And you got to, pay the refs a little extra to get them to hurry and set that ball, because it's not like college where it's an automatic 40 seconds. It could be shorter, it could be longer, depending on your officials. Of course, I don't think they're really going to pay the officials.
So minute 23, they're going to kick it, it looks like, here from
usually the
20-yard line is what it typically is. Springville's only got 1 guy back at the 40. Everybody else is on the 40-yard line and 30-yard line of Spanish Fork, and it looks like they are going to line up for the onside kick. I didn't think you could do the onside kick, but apparently...
Maybe you can in high school. I know at some levels you cannot.
So it all comes down to this. James Daw puts a foot into it, and whistles blow immediately. Ooh, that got a good bounce, too.
Yeah, on these you want to kick it into the ground so they can't call that fair catch. But yeah, Springville called a timeout at the right time.
That one, I mean, got a nice bounce. The player for Springville bobbling that one, but now with a minute 23, this becomes huge. If Springville does recover the onside kick, Chris, and then you have to go play defense, you have to have the idea, I think, here of go in, you're going to have to try to make the tackle and rip. You have to try to get that ball out.
Yeah, you got to. And let's hope, if you're a Spanish Fork fan, that James Daw can do that once again. That was huge.
And so now we'll see here with 1:23 to go, we'll see another onside kick. Again, everybody for Springville, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 of the 11 guys on the field. On the Spanish Fork side of the field, 5 sitting at the 35-yard line, 5 more sitting at the 45-yard line. Now they'll all move up.
I wonder if you just kind of kick it in one of these areas around the 50 over everybody's head, if you couldn't race down there and get it. I mean, that's what I might try. They're going to be ready for that short hop here on the right side.
James Daw to put a foot into it at the 20. Here's the kick. Low liner goes off of a Springville player, and Spanish Fork recovers. The Dons have new life with 1:20 to go. It just grazed number 4, Tate Erickson for Springville, and the Dons are right there to recover.
Yeah, great job by Isaac Pendleton running down and grabbing that ball, and great kick by James Daw. That is a hard play to execute, and they did it to perfection that time.
And that's just huge. And that's one of those things, too, if you're Springville, where you have no choice. If you let that go, there's a good chance Spanish Fork recovers it, but you have to do something to try to corral that back into your own guys, I would think.
Yeah, and that ball's been slippery. It's cold. So we'll see what happens. The refs are huddled up, still talking about this play, but I imagine they'll give the ball to Spanish Fork.
And they will, officially given there. So now, you talked about it, Chris, with the big playability tonight of Spanish Fork. 1:20, you have 2 timeouts. You got plenty of times, but now Nate Kiesel's going to have to shine.
Yeah, they need some Nate Kiesel homecoming magic tonight to get this victory.
1st and 10 Dons, ball on the 32-yard line. Kiesel setting up the screen. He's got Salofa Funa down the sideline. Funa out of bounds at around the 44.
He didn't get out of bounds. They're winding the clock still.
He did get a first down, so stop it for enough. But like you said, the clock's going to go once everything gets set. 1:14 to go. And that's got to kind of take some of the air out. If you're Springville, you just went from being, hey, we have a good shot at winning this one, to all of a sudden now we're having to fight for it.
They need to bring the play clock up to 25.
And here it is. Yeah, you can tell here. I guess the clock did stop, so I guess they must have said.
For the first down. And they wind the clock.
And now there we go. Okay. Funa, the single back. Kiesel drops back to pass with some time. He's got all day. Takes a shot deep. Got a man out there. It's caught by Brent. Incomplete. It went in and out of the hands of Brooks Ringer.
Oh, and that is the 4th or 5th big drop down filled tonight. Kiesel is putting the ball exactly where he needs to. His wide receivers need to do their part and come up with some of these big catches. That might be the difference in tonight's ball game if Spanish Fork isn't able to pull this out.
Kiesel stands in there too, takes a shot, and once again, these Spanish Fork wide receivers are beating Springville over the top. They've done it multiple times tonight. I would think in this situation, although the hard part is you don't want to just drop the safeties and prevent, because a field goal here by Spanish Fork could win in the ball game.
You might want to at this point. You might want to just drop your 2 safeties about 30 yards deep. They're blitzing.
Pressure comes. Kiesel steps up. He's got some backside pressure, and he's going down back to the 31, and Spanish Fork's going to have to call a timeout with about 50. I think they called it with about 54, but clock was stopped at about 53.
Yeah, and to reset the situation, they've only got 1 timeout, and it's going to be 3rd and a mile. That's a long way. It's over 20.
And now this is a situation, if you're Springville, where you probably will drop, I don't know if you want to go into a cover 3, but you probably are just going to drop some safeties here. As long as they don't get out of bounds, that clock's going to continue to run.
Yeah, I'd at least go to cover 3, maybe cover 4, and just drop all 4 of your guys deep, and 2 really deep, but you just need a couple of stops here, and I imagine we'll see Mr. Rodriguez blitzing for Springville. He has been a stellar performer at his defensive line position.
Next week, Spanish Fork heads over to crosstown rival Maple Mountain. 7 o'clock kickoff over at Maple Mountain High School. That one will be right here on Spanish Fork 17. 3rd down and 10. The Dons need the 45-yard line for Springville to move the chains. They don't need all 22 here. We'll see how Coach Jordan Smith wants to play this right here. Springville looks like they're coming. Kiesel steps up, has some time. He's going for it all right here. Looking for Higginson, and that pass is incomplete. 4th down. I don't think you need that there, but maybe that's the open route that you had if you're Nate Kiesel.
Well, it's been open all night, but Springville had a little better coverage than they had on that deep ball, and they were stride for stride with Jackson Higginson that time. And here's the ball game, folks.
And not the situation you want. 4th and 22 with the ball game on the line. Like I said, Spanish Fork needs the Springville 45-yard line. I still don't know if I don't pick here on Bennett Hollinger. Hollinger's kind of isolated by himself. The safeties, Scott Averett's playing more towards the other side. I don't know if I don't look to maybe go to Isaac Pendleton here.
That's a good observation.
4th and 22. Kiesel steps back, has some time, pressured up. He's throwing for Pendleton, who gets the man beat. Flag comes in! And that should be pass interference against Springville, which will at least make it 4th down again and should make it about a 4th and 7. Once again, they pick on Isaac Pendleton, on Bennett Hollinger.
Yeah, and Hollinger that time was out of position. He's arguing that he didn't interfere, but that was clearly interference. And I think that ball was thrown too deep. I think if we would have let him go by.
And we'll see pass interference, offensive pass interference, and that's gonna. And I mean, hopefully we get a Car Guys instant replay.
Really?
Maybe he pointed the wrong way. I don't know, but now he's getting some clarification. Pass interference on the offense. Penalties decline. 1st down, Springville. Let's take a look at the Car Guys instant replay. Let's see if we can slow it down. Thank you, Andy, for that. And I guess they're going to say that Pendleton pushed off, but Hollinger just slips.
He stops on that play and gets in the way, and he was completely out of position. Pendleton's making a play on the ball, and Hollinger that time was making a play on the defender, or on the offensive receiver that time, and that's the wrong call.
And now with 38 seconds, Springville's going to take the victory formation, and they're going to have the inside seat right now to the Region A championship as Jansen Thorpe takes the knee. Jordan Smith will use his final timeout here, and the clock was still running. There's about, I want to say 3 seconds, 3, maybe even 4 seconds to come off the clock here. And Springville's going to find a way to escape.
Yeah, Springville will, and Spanish Fork is just heartbroken down there as you see Mace Funa with his hands on his helmet. Yeah, just a huge call that time. I mean, I'd have been fine maybe with a no call because it was way overthrown, but I'm shocked that they called that offensive pass interference.
Well, and the hard part, too, if you're Spanish Fork, you just went from having a shot at first place in region to now you're probably, if depending on what happens next week with Maple Mountain, you're potentially 3rd in region.
Right. Well, in Springville, they win tonight 16-14. They beat Maple Mountain 14-13. They win 2 huge ball games by just a 3-point margin. I mean, how clutch are they in these games?
Clock will run. They'll have to take a knee one final time. But this will probably be the final snap of the ball game. Springville is going to move to 5-0, 2-0 in Region 8 play. And if they take care of business the rest of the way, Springville is going to have that inside spot to the Region 8 championship. The Red Devils will celebrate. The Spanish Fork sidelines absolutely stunned here at Spanish Fork High School, here where our final score is the Springville Red Devils 16, the Spanish Fork Dons 14. Let's take a break here on Spanish Fork Community Network. When we come back, we'll wrap it up here with the MVP Sports Player of the Game, or game recap and everything like that. You're watching high school football here on the Spanish Fork Community Network.
You know Triple T Heating and Cooling, but did you know that Triple T does plumbing? From tankless hot water, soft water, and reverse osmosis drinking water systems, right down to that leaky faucet. Triple T sure does plumbing. Call Triple T at 801-798-7711 today.
in Spanish Fork. See your good neighbor State Farm agent Lance Wilson for your insurance and financial needs.
Need a new car or truck? The Car Guys has the best selection of used vehicles at the best prices in Spanish Fork. The Car Guys know their automobiles to get you the best car for your needs and your budget. The Car Guys at 872 North Main in Spanish Fork. MVP Sports is the #1 source for sporting goods in Spanish Fork. Football, soccer, all the fall sports, we've got you covered. Check out our new custom t-shirt builder. Design at home and we'll build it for you. MVP Sports, 72 North Main in Spanish Fork.
Look at how many momentum shifts this game had for not a lot of scoring. The final about 10 minutes, it went from being everything Springville back to Spanish Fork to Springville back to Spanish Fork to finally ended up with Springville.
Yeah, you hate to see these games where one of these teams has to lose, and unfortunately for Spanish Fork, they lose tonight. But you're right, this game had some very exciting plays, but both defenses were, as the shirts say here, rock solid.
I mean, that's for sure. When you take a look at that, I don't really know. I was thinking about it during the break as we see Salofa Funa and Mace Funa come off the field here. I don't really know if there's a turning point of this ball game when you look back for Spanish Fork and you can really pinpoint one moment where Springville just took full control, because really it was back and forth the entire way.
Yeah, I think the only play that Spanish Fork really didn't compete hard in was that second play of the ball game, where Devin Tate takes it all the way down there on that 75-yard run. Other than that, they competed on every play. Springville competed hard too. They let a couple of passes get behind him, but Spanish Fork had too many big drops downfield, and that's the real reason they lost.
I mean, you really look at it, and I mean, Spanish Fork left. I'm gonna probably hard. Well, it's going to be kind of hard to say in a sense. They probably left 14 points on the scoreboard from those big plays.
I don't know if they left 14 points, but they probably left about 180 yards and 4 big drops down the field.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's those small things like that for Spanish Fork. And I think the hard part is you kind of look at it. You don't want to look ahead to Maple Mountain next week, but if you're the Spanish Fork Dons, kind of an interesting scenario, because now you're coming off of this heartbreaking loss to Springville. Now you got to get yourself fired up and excited next week to go crosstown rival Maple Mountain, a team that I'm going to say, maybe this is going off on a limb, Chris, correct me if I'm wrong, this might be maybe the best team in Maple Mountain's history that they have right now, or one of the best.
If it's not the best, it's the second best. I've seen I covered Maple Mountain for Spanish Fork 17 before starting with Spanish Fork this season, and I've seen them play a lot of ball games. And they, one year they won region on a technicality because Timpview was playing too many ineligible players, and they've had a couple of teams that have played home playoff games, meaning they took first or second. So it's one of the best teams Maple Mountain has, but it's definitely Jaron Hall is the best player Maple Mountain's had, and he's going to be quarterbacking that team next week.
And it's going to be, just a kind of a tough loss tonight if you're Spanish Fork, because you had a lot of times that defense came up big right when they needed to. The offense made the plays for the most part, but they just couldn't quite get it done exactly when it needed to.
Right, and that's it's the small things that make big things happen in life, and they didn't connect on a couple of those. And Springville is 2-0 in region. Spanish is 1-1, and up next for Springville, they play Uinta, so that could be a battle of undefeateds as well. I'm not sure if we got the final score on that Salem Hills game.
Last time I saw, Salem Hills scored about 23 unanswered. It was like 30-10.
All right,
something like that. But Chris, though, it's one of those things you look back, if you're Spanish Fork, and you look back on this one, and you have an opportunity to have a building point in your season where you have this emotional loss. Now you have a chance to take that in. You still have a good shot. Maybe Maple Mountain stumbles, maybe Springville stumbles down the stretch and maybe loses a game here and there. You obviously don't want to have to play on that, but it's definitely a possibility. Some great performances, though, by Spanish Fork. When you check out Jackson Higginson tonight, he made the big 35-yard touchdown pass reception in that first quarter. Then he comes back there standing all alone in the end zone. One of those positions where sometimes receivers get too wide open and they don't haul it in. He hauls in this big game-tying touchdown.
That was a 52-yarder.
It's one of those things. You look at him, he had an MVP type performance
He
tonight.
did, and that's why we're going to make him the MVP Sports MVP player of the game. That's Jackson Higginson. Had over 100 yards receiving tonight and those 2 big touchdowns. Congratulations to him for single-handedly keeping them in this ball game. And of course he can't do it all on his own. He had Nate Kiesel throwing some of those balls, but he was the one that was able to hold on to those big pass throws downfield.
Unfortunately tonight, Jackson Higginson, a great performance. So fortunately for Spanish Fork, a great performance from Jackson Higginson. Unfortunately though, the Dons do fall tonight, 16-14 to the Springville Red Devils. You can catch this game and replays over many of our other broadcasts on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/SpanishFork17, where you can see any program from live high school sports to many of our other programs throughout the station. Our next broadcast comes next week, 7 o'clock Friday night, 6:30 the pregame show with Ken and Sam, who are going to, I'm sure, paint this great picture for the Maple Mountain Spanish Fork game. An opportunity there potentially to have a team right there, another tiebreaker situation for Spanish Fork, a chance they could be in the second place spot at the end of that game with a win over Maple Mountain. But just setting that picture for what's going to be a great ball game. It's Hall versus Kiesel, former Don James Wilson now back on the other side. It's just going to be an exciting atmosphere over at Maple Mountain. It's going to be probably a packed house where it should be a fun game. Right,
and last time they met, we had the little incident with the fumble. So who knows what's going to happen in that game. I've seen Spanish Fork, actually Jason Money throw a touchdown pass at the end of the game to win it at Maple Mountain 2 years ago. So it's going to be an exciting ball game. So we're looking forward to that one. That will be 7 o'clock next week. And we'd like to thank our sponsors one final time for making this broadcast possible here on Spanish Fork 17. The Car Guys, who brought you all of our Car Guys instant replays tonight. Lance Wilson State Farm for doing this Lance Wilson State Farm assist of the ball game. You heard those and saw those throughout the broadcast. MVP Sports for the MVP of the game, in which tonight goes to Jackson Higginson, to Jack's Pizza, Triple T Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing. And of course, all of our friends here at Spanish Fork 17. For our entire crew here at Spanish Fork High School, for my partner in the booth, Chris Hurst, I'm Ryan Ficken, signing off until next week when Spanish Fork hits the road to play crosstown rival Maple Mountain